നമ്മൾ ചാപ്റ്റർ 1 എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് നോട്ട്സ് ആക്കി സിമ്പിളായിട്ടുള്ള നോട്ട്സ് ആയിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ കൊടുത്തത് പോയിന്റ് വൈസ് ആയിട്ട്. ഓക്കെ, റിനൈസൻസ് മെയ്ഡ് സിഗ്നിഫിക്കൻറ്റ് ചേഞ്ചസ് ഇൻ ഹ്യൂമൻ തോട്ട്, വ്യൂസ് ആൻഡ് ലൈഫ്. ലെറ്റ് us എക്സാമിൻ ദം. ഹ്യൂമാനിസം, സയൻറ്റിഫിക് ടെമ്പർ, റേഷണൽ തിങ്കിങ്, സ്പിരിറ്റ് ഓഫ് എൻക്വയറി, enlightenment. The progress in the field of science brought about by the Renaissance gave birth to enlightenment in 18th century. Thinkers of this movement propagated the ideas like freedom, democracy, equality, and nationalism. American War of Independence and mercantilism. The British treated the American colonies as centers for collecting raw materials and as market. The British merchants implemented this policy with the help of their motherland in the American colonies. It is known as mercantilism. Mercantilist laws. The goods must be carried only in British ships. British stamp must be affixed on all the legal documents, newspapers, license, etc. Product of the colonies like sugar, cotton, tobacco, etc. could only be exported to England. Colonies must provide food and quarters for the British troops. Import tax must be paid for the import of tea, glass, paper, etc. Thinkers who stimulated the American War of Independence. John Locke, Thomas Paine. First Continental Congress. The delegates of all the colonies except Georgia met at Philadelphia at 1774. The protest against the policies and rules imposed by government England. They submitted petition to the King of England. They demanded removal of rules and regulations. Reasons for the war between England and the colonies. Following the First Continental Congress, people of the colonies submitted a petition to the King of England. They demanded to remove regulations on industry and commerce, and also demanded not to impose tax without the approval of the people. But the king sent military forces to suppress. Second Philadelphia Congress. It was in 1775 at Philadelphia. They elected George Washington as the commander-in-chief of the Continental Army. The American Continental Congress issued the famous Declaration of Independence 4th July 1776. Declaration was prepared by Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin. Human rights and freedom. All are equal. Everyone has certain rights. Treaty of Paris in 1783. England recognized the freedom of 13 colonies. American Revolution influenced in the world history in different ways. What are they? Prepared the first written constitution. Put forward the concept of republican form of government. Contributed to the concept of federal system. They gave direction and motivation to later freedom struggle. French Revolution estate. The French society was divided into 3 estates. They are: first estate, clergy, exempted from all taxes, held vast land, higher position administrative and military service, collected tithe from farmers. Second estate, nobility, led luxurious life, exempted from taxes, held vast land, engaged military service. Third estate, common people, commons, paid taxes to clergy and nobles, low social status, no rule in administration. Role of thinkers in French Revolution. Voltaire ridiculed the exploitation of clergy, promoted rational thinking. Rousseau, man is born free, but everywhere he is in chains. Montesquieu. The third essay takes the lead. The luxurious life of kings, clergy, and lords, and the frequent war, drought, and crop failure brought France to financial problems. To levy new taxes, Louis XVI summoned the State General in 1789. The French society also had 3 estates. The first 2 estates argued for estate-wise single voting system, while third estate demands individual vote for each members of the 3 states. Tennis court or the third estate declared themselves as the National Assembly of France. They assembled in the tennis court nearby. They took an oath not to leave until they had framed a constitution of France. Commencement of the French Revolution. Revolutionaries stormed with the slogan liberty, equality, and fraternity, demolished the Bastille prison, the symbol of Bourbon monarchy. Impact of French Revolution. Helped the growth of middle class, threatened the autocratic rules in Europe, led to emergence of nationalism, stimulated later revolution, end of feudal system in Europe, proclaimed nation is not merely a region but the people, concept of people's sovereignty, spread the ideas of equality, liberty and fraternity. Reform of Napoleon 1799. Farmers were made the owners of land, established Bank of France, formed sinking fund to avoid public debt, constructed several roads, states control over the clergy, prepared a new code of law by codifying the existing laws. Waterloo. Napoleon was defeated by the European alliance in the Battle of Waterloo and lost his power in 1815. Latin American Revolution. How the colonial rule affected the life of native of Latin America. The Spanish and Portuguese propagated their language, religions and customs. They built houses and churches in Spanish style. Schools were established for imparting Spanish system of education. The Spanish farming method and crop were introduced. New diseases spread from European to the Latin Americans. They looted the resources and wealth of Latin American people, enslaved the native to work. Leaders of liberation. Who are the leaders of liberation? Simon Bolivar, Francisco Miranda, Jose de San Martin. Russian Revolution demand of the workers in Russian society. Abolish the private property system. Everyone has to work. Everyone has freedom. Circumstances that lead them to demand so. Farmers and factory workers in Russia led a tragic life under the autocracy of the Tsarist emperors who ruled Russia. The low agricultural production affected the farmers' income. Landless farmers had to pay huge tax. Though Russia was rich in natural resources, their industrial production was merged. It was the foreigners who controlled majority of the industries that existed there. Bolshevik and Menshevik. Based on Marxist ideologies, the Social Democratic Workers' Party was formed. Later, this party was split into Bolsheviks and Mensheviks. The main leaders of the Bolsheviks were Lenin and Trotsky. Alexander Kerensky led the Menshevik. Bloody Sunday. Russia was defeated in the Russia-Japan War in 1905. The workers organized a huge march Petrograd 1905. It was demanding political rights and economic reforms. The march was fired at by the soldiers and hundreds of workers killed. February Revolution. Ignoring the protest from Duma, Legislative Assembly, Nicholas II decided to participate in First World War 1944. In this war, many soldiers were killed. Thousands of women have marched clamoring for bread. The workers organized protest march. Firstly, the soldiers clashed with the workers. Later, they joined the workers. The workers captured Petrograd and Nicholas II was thrown out of power. A provisional government was formed under Alexander Kerensky, the Menshevik leader. This is known as February Revolution. Since Russian calendar was a few days behind the international calendar, this revolution took place in March. October Revolution. In October 1917, the Bolshevik organized an armed rebellion against the provisional government. Kerensky fled from the Russia and Russia came under the control of Bolshevik. This event, October Revolution, results of Russian Revolution or revolutionary measures taken by Russian cabinet under the leadership of Lenin. Russia withdrew from First World War, seized out of lands of lords and distributed among the farmers, gave importance to public sector, introduced centralized planning, achieved development in the field of science, technology and economy, spread the socialist ideas all over the world. New constitution came to force 1924. Chinese Revolution, opium trade. China gained huge profit through the export of silk, tea, earthenware. There was nothing to import to China from Europe. As a result, the European trade suffered a great loss. As a remedy, the British traders imported opium and intoxicant to China. This made Chinese people mentally imbalanced. It resulted economic and mental subjugation subjugation of the Chinese. Open door policy. America could not acquire the privilege as it was not concerned about China 19th century. To acquire the privilege, John Hay proclaimed the open door policy. As per this policy, America argued for equal rights and opportunities for all countries in Chinese market. Boxer Rebellion. The Manchu dynasty in China favored the foreign interference and domination. Some secret organization in China revolted against it in 19,000. The emblem of this organization was the boxer's fist. Ideologies of Dr. Yat-Sen. Ended monarchy in China. Kuomintang party established a republican government in China under the leadership of Sun Yat-sen. He gave importance to ideologies like nationalism, democracy, and socialism. People's Revolution led by Mao Zedong, Long March. In 1934, under the leadership of Mao Zedong, journey started. Jiangxi entered at Yunnan. Through this journey, they seized out agricultural land and villages from lords and distributed among the farmers. The journey covered around 12,000 kilometers, 1,200 kilometers, so it is known as Long March. Then the king Chiang Kai-shek seek political shelter in Taiwan. When Red Army of Mao captured the center of Kuomintang rule, China became republic on October 1, 1949 under the leadership of Mao. This is the chapter. ഇതാണ് ചാപ്റ്ററിലെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട പോയിൻറ്റ്സ് റിവിഷൻ നോട്ടായിട്ട് നിങ്ങൾക്ക് യൂട്ടിലൈസ് ചെയ്യാം. അപ്പോൾ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടെങ്കിൽ ലൈക്ക് ചെയ്യുക, ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുക, അതോടൊപ്പം നിങ്ങളുടെ അഭിപ്രായങ്ങൾ കമൻറ്റ് സെക്ഷനിലൂടെ എന്നെ അറിയിക്കുകയും ചെയ്യുക. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടെന്ന് കരുതുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അടുത്ത നോട്ടുമായിട്ട് ഞാൻ വൈകാതെ വരാം. അതോടൊപ്പം തന്നെ മലയാളത്തിൻ്റെ നോട്ട് ഞാൻ തൊട്ടടുത്ത ദിവസം ഇതിൽ അപ്ലോഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും. എല്ലാ മക്കൾക്കും നല്ലൊരു ദിവസം ആശംസിക്കുന്നു. താങ്ക്